because I want a girl to call my own. I want a dream lover so I don't have to dream alone. Welcome. The movie we're going to discuss today is called IQ, starring Meg Ryan, Walter Matthau, Tim Robbins, Lou Jacoby, Gene Sachs, Stephen Fry, Frank Whaley, Tony Shalhoub, Charles Durning, Joseph Marr, Danny Zorn, Keen Curtis, Alice Playton, Helen Hanft, and a few other people like Greg German. Um, it's a lot of A-listers from way back then, and it's a lot of B-listers from the early 2000s, I guess you would say, maybe late mid 90s. This movie, IQ, came out in 1994, so you already know it's got the 50s craze going to it because, a lot of 90s movies are really throwback, to the 50s and stuff, like the movie Susie Q, or um, there's this other movie I can't remember, but it's a movie about some 1950s bus that crashed, and this dude has a bunch of ghosts in his head. I'm gonna have to find that movie in the stack. But with that being said, IQ just flat out saying that IQ is a pretty decent movie. It's one of these movies that you can watch late night if you can't really sleep. It's the middle of the night, but you're trying to find something to watch that you can go to sleep to. This is one of those movies. I would also recommend like My Dog Skip. It's it's in that realm of movie. What's another movie? Dustin Checks In. It's it's one of those movies that's a good watcher every now and then. This movie, I wouldn't say you'd be completely fine watching it one time and remembering the whole movie, if I can say it like that. It's not a bad movie, but it's nothing that I could say, "Oh, this is my favorite movie of all time." I wouldn't say that at all. But it is a pretty decent movie. The timing, let's just get this out right now. The timing, stroked there a little long. Stroked her a little long there. You know, I'll just be flat out with y'all. But here we go. So it's a comedy romance about Tim Robbins' character, Ed Walters, who happens to be a mechanic at a local mechanic shop for automobiles at this time. This is like the 50s, I guess you would say, early 50s. And he's a normal guy, intelligent. You can say he's skilled, very skilled. You can tell he's skilled right off the back when the movie starts. But then you have Meg Ryan's character, who's a bombshell, very intelligent, very smart, genius type, working at Princeton, and she happens to be engaged to one of the professors who's doing science experiments at the school, and his name is James Moreland. He's the fiance of Meg Ryan's character in this movie. So, in a nutshell, she happens to be driving. Her car goes kaput. Boom. She ends up at the shop that Ed is at, and her name's Catherine Boyd in this. She ends up where Ed's at, and Ed, of course, thinks she's hot as fuck. And he's like, I have to get her. I'm going to marry her. As soon as he started talking to her, they play the music. You could tell there's a spark. You can tell there's some type of spark in her eyes, but it's nothing profound. It's just like, she probably thinks he's a handsome guy, but he wants his fucking shit fixed, right? So she wants her car fixed. So it gets to the point where they're talking and whatnot. After they're talking, she leaves. He figures out that she left a gold watch there, like a gold pocket watch. And he's like, see, it's perfect. Like, it was bound to happen. It's destiny. That's what he was telling his friends in the background while she was asking how long it would take her car to get fixed. I think he told her like 3 days or something. And she's like, okay. So she gets in a taxi with her fiance and they leave. Mind you, the fiance is some weird. I mean, Stephen Fry is not, I wouldn't say the most Hollywood-esque type man that they wanted, but I guess since he's British and it's supposed to be the 50s, I guess they did somewhat of a let's see what people look like back then type thing, and they matched it pretty well. But they get in the car and they leave. They head to the school or whatever. So Ed Walters ends up going to like really find her where she was living at because she put a certain address that was in the town that she's that's close by the shop, because the town and the college that she works at are, I guess there's a bit of a ways in between. I guess let's say like 20 miles or some shit. So he rides his motorcycle to the house where she had written down where she would be staying at. Meanwhile, the car's getting fixed. And as they get in there, you realize that boom, he's talking to Einstein. It's pretty fast. It's not a movie that drags along like that in a sense, because they're pretty fast with the hey, this is Einstein. But since it's Walter Matthau playing it, I think it's fucking hilarious because he does give a great Einstein. People always say he has a Mr. Peabody type face, or like the old what would you call it, like a hound dog face or a bloodhound face. So he's pretty funny. You also got him in all the other movies he's been in, especially with like Gone Fishing and shit like that. He's pretty funny, but he's playing Einstein in this, and Einstein is with some other scientists, which would be Gödel, Podolsky, and I forgot, and Liebknecht. Yeah, so he's with some other scientists who are supposed to be the great minds of that time, and they're all trying to figure out what love is, and they figure out, hey, he likes my niece. We can get him to date my niece. He's a good-looking dude. But he's just a mechanic, and she wants a smart dude, because she's obviously drop dead gorgeous, they would say in that time, which is why they got Meg Ryan, bleached her blonde hair. She's a bombshell. This is like Madonna timing in the 90s, so she's definitely got a vibrant look to her, rocky. She looks great. So they're trying to match her up with Tim Robbins' cool motorcycle character against Stephen Fry, who's got the weird-faced British vibe, smart, but doesn't seem to like her that much and kind of treats her like she's dumb, which is ridiculous, because how are you going to treat her like she's dumb when usually it's the other way around, like usually an ugly guy is getting treated, You get what I'm saying. But it goes to Einstein's great idea to make him seem like a genius by keeping who he is, but turning him into a genius by giving him all the answers that a genius would know if he were to take the test of a genius. So, throughout the movie, Ed Walters, Tim Robbins, he starts getting recognition through the city that he's one of the smartest men to come out of Princeton in a long time, or that this area where they live at in a long time. Besides having Einstein there, he's one of the smartest people in the world through testing. And the only reason why he got tested is because Stephen Fry had a feeling that he's not a genius, and he could tell that he's trying to get to his girl because he keeps popping up at the house that Einstein's at, that he's usually at, and now he's figuring out in a slight chance that Tim Robin might be trying to steal his girl. So he gets him tested, but he's passing all these tests. They're doing background stuff, and this is why they got Walter Matthau, because at the end of the day, if you need some putsy, stoogey, type of joking, slapstick, very, very much so cartoony, like old funny jokes, you gotta have Walter Matthau. You know what I'm saying? He's pretty funny with it. They do a lot of stoogey work in it. It's definitely paying homage to a lot of the old movies, since it is supposed to be 50s style. They wanted it to be still cradled in that type of Leave It to Beaver-esque movie Hollywood stature. Now, throughout the movie, you can tell that she's starting to like him, not only because he happens to look decent, but it's something different. She feels as though not only she already likes Ed, but I'm talking about Catherine Boyd, Meg Ryan. She obviously likes Ed because he looks handsome, but now it's the icing on the cake that he is a genius, because now she can talk about things that she can't really talk to her fiance about, because her fiance happens to think she's dumb and shuts her off a lot because he thinks he's smarter, and he thinks that his rat social experiment is more than what she's got to say. And then they have another scene where they're all at the table talking, and they're talking about where they want to go for their honeymoon, and he's saying like a certain place overseas, and she's saying some like oil flats or some type of where you get lubed all up and you just slide into the water, and she's talking about that. They leave. He's asking her what the fuck, and then she's trying to fuck while everybody's at the dinner table for a quickie, and he doesn't want to do it. And then she's like, "You don't love me," and he's like, "Of course I love you." But that just tweaked her in her mind, and it pretty much threw her into the arms of Ed Walters. But you still got to think that Ed Walters has been lying that he's a genius because of Einstein. And he himself is already he's starting to feel bad that he is smart and getting recognition from the city, and almost at this point the world, because he's been getting news recognition beyond the newspaper, and there are serious political people coming by him trying to figure out real nuclear problems due to the fact that he's just trying to get Catherine to marry him. So this is putting Einstein and all the three other scientists in the bag, because now not only do they have a problem that they made that sounds like it's something that could be done, they made it so good to the fact where Catherine is trying to make sure that that problem is not even true, because she wanted to make her theory right, because she's been trying. And she has to go to the highest rank of being smart. She feels as though because her uncle is Einstein. It gets to the point where all the lying and all the nefariousness has been coming to a close, because being Einstein, you can only do so much, and having all this smart can only do so much in a social setting when you haven't got to that point at all. And they've got to the point where, again, Tim Robbins' character has gotten to the point where he does not feel good about doing any of that to her, because he want to be truthful about how smart he truly is, and he doesn't want to seem like he is some type of genius, but in some way he is his own type of genius. He's just statistically speaking not a genius on paper as she is, and she has to find out throughout the movie that not only is she smart enough, she cracked the code of what they lied about. She cracked the true code about the true formula, and now she's actually one of the greats and one of the smartest of all time in that sense in that movie. Because now their lie turned into a truth for her, because she solved the problem that they lied about. And of course, you're still figuring out that Stephen Fry, James Moreland, he doesn't really care about the girl and pretty much lets go of her, because now all the recognition and all the stuff that he's been working on has been getting thrown out the trash due to him trying to get a grasp on it, since Ed Walters is getting all the publicity even though he wanted it for his rat theory instead. Also, they had a dude that was stuck inside one of these boxes for a time chamber, and he gave Ed gave him a watch so he can have time and at least know what time it is, because he had been in there. How he doesn't know how long he had been in there, and he finally got a watch, so that pretty much saved his life. I mean, there's a couple quirky jokes in here that's kind of funny. I really did like the motorcycle he had. It was a nice old school Harley. Meg Ryan is hot in this movie. Again, Walter Matthau, he pretty much had held up this movie, because the acting was good on everybody's part, but it was dry. It was pretty airy. It's a lot of movement and seamless movement, like motorcycle sounds and car sounds and chopping, and it's a lot of movement sounds in this movie. It's not enough filler with action or real content or real dialogue. It's one of those movies that's like, oh, you fall asleep and wake up, you didn't miss much, because they dragged the scene on a little bit. So I mean, if you fell asleep on the movie, you'd be like, oh, well, I watched most of it. Other than that, I will say that the ending's okay. They ended up getting together in like a weird... They ended up getting together, But the way they closed the scene out was weird. Um, and again, yeah, it was kind of dragged on to me. But other than that, this was a pretty decent film. Something you can go to sleep to. Like I said, it was like Dustin Checks In or Free Willy 2 or, you know, it's got that type of vibe. We're watching IQ. This is the video. This is visual residuals. And peace out, y'all.